As the film opens, Robert Montague Renfield is one of them at a support group for victims of abusive relationships. He explains his story to us. Centuries ago, Renfield was a lawyer trying to negotiate a deal with a count that would greatly benefit his family. His count was none other than Dracula, the Prince of Darkness. Dracula made Renfield his familiar after he proved to be a useful assistant by granting him immortality and superhuman strength and speed. Hunters come along every now and then to try and kill Dracula, but the Count convinces Renfield that he would be imprisoned for helping him if Dracula were killed. Renfield is seen breaking a salt ring sealing Dracula, allowing him to turn into smoke and cause a priest to blow into chunks. Dracula goes for the other hunter but is exposed to sunlight, causing him to burn and allowing him to engulf the hunter in flames until Renfield puts the fire out. They then have to relocate continuously to throw other hunters off their trail, and Renfield brings them to New Orleans until Dracula can grow back to full power. Renfield has grown weary and exhausted of bringing victims for his master. A member of the support group, Caitlin, discusses her junkie boyfriend, Mitch. Renfield decides to deliver criminals to Dracula instead of innocents, which would feel less bad. After knocking out Mitch and his goons at a warehouse, he is killed by a hitman named Apache Joe. In spite of being sliced across his stomach by Joe, Renfield consumes a bug and punches Joe's head off his shoulders, sending it flying toward local gangster Teddy Lobo's car. Teddy flees. During a drunk driving check, Officer Rebecca Quincy and her partner Chris come across Teddy. Teddy is recognized by Rebecca, and since the car has a lot of cocaine, Teddy begins to drive away. After Rebecca shoots out his tires, Teddy starts running, but she throws her baton at his head to knock him out. Unfortunately, the Lobos gang hires a good lawyer to get Teddy out before he can spill the beans on his criminal family's operation. It is a personal case because her father, a decorated captain on the police force, was murdered by the Lobos. Her sister Kate works for the FBI and also wants to take down the Lobos, but she reminds Rebecca that they must remain professional and not let their anger get the best of them. Mitch's friends and Joe's headless corpse are brought to Dracula, who rejects them since they are junkies. Dracula demands Renfield bring him innocents, such as nuns and cheerleaders. Dracula slices Renfield into pieces where Joe cut him, almost disemboweling him before giving him his healing blood. As Teddy returns home to his mother, Bella, she tells him that they must get rid of Rebecca in order to stop her from taking down the operation. In the nearby restaurant, Renfield reluctantly scouts for innocents. The same restaurant had the pen they found at a crime scene, that Renfield used to stab Joe. The Lobos goons show up to kill Rebecca. Teddy threatens Rebecca and asks her to pull the trigger before she actually decides to act upon his words. She taunts Teddy and says he probably has never shot anyone. Renfield eats a fly and tackles Teddy. Renfield ends up killing all the Lobos except Teddy, who escapes. Rebecca thanks Renfield for his help. Renfield seems to be particularly smitten with her. Dracula shows Renfield his plans to dominate the world once he has reached full power, hoping to create an army of familiars to do his bidding. Renfield goes back to his lair, where he claims some victims to slightly restore his normal form. When Renfield returns to the group session, he refers to Dracula as his boss when he talks about his relationship with him. In order to improve his life independently of Dracula, the group suggests Renfield find his own apartment and find happiness for himself. Rebecca brings in all the witnesses from the restaurant to give testimonies, but she knows that there are corrupt cops on the force that are on the Lobos' payroll, so they have been tampering with evidence. Renfield shows up to give a testimony, along with a bouquet of flowers for Rebecca. She later brings the bloody pen to Kate to process as evidence. Bella sends Teddy and the other Lobos to go after Renfield. They end up at the lair, where Dracula munches on all of them except for Teddy. When he reveals that he is there for Renfield, Dracula becomes enraged and feels betrayed by his assistant. Dracula shows up at Renfield's apartment, entering because he has a welcome mat in front of the door. He chastises Renfield for abandoning him and trying to be independent. Dracula also tells him he's the real monster for abandoning his wife and daughter to become his assistant. Renfield tries to use tactics from a book given to him at the support group, but Dracula takes it and sees the sticker revealing the location of the church where the group meets. Renfield rushes to the church to warn the group and get them out, But once Dracula arrives, group leader Mark mistakenly invites the Count inside. He reveals himself to the group before proceeding to slaughter everyone and feed off them. He taunts Renfield before leaving, and Rebecca and Chris arrive moments later, arresting Renfield for believing he killed everyone. While Rebecca is cuffing Renfield, Bella and the Lobos pull up alongside a bunch of police cars, which confirm Rebecca's suspicion that the cops are working with the criminals, including Chris and Captain Browning. Despite Browning's best efforts, Rebecca shoots a transformer in order to distract everyone and escape with Renfield. Rebecca is shot in the shoulder but survives. In his apartment, Renfield hides Rebecca. He remains cuffed, confessing had he worked for Dracula for centuries. Rebecca later gets a call from Kate, who confirms the DNA in the pen is connected to decades of murders worldwide. Renfield and Rebecca proceed to leave the apartment, but a SWAT team of corrupt cops begins to storm the complex to catch them. Renfield eats ants and proceeds to annihilate the cops, tearing them to shreds, ripping them limb from limb, stomping heads, ripping a man's face off, and even impaling two men with severed arms. Rebecca is horrified but thankful for being saved. Dracula returns to Teddy and agrees to join forces with the Lobos to help the Count amass an army for his plans for world conquest. Teddy brings Dracula to meet his mother, where he decapitates Browning and reveals himself to Bella, who is impressed. When Renfield and Rebecca are in public, Renfield tells her about his past and how he regrets leaving his wife and daughter behind when he was mainly interested in benefiting himself. Dracula then telepathically communicates with Renfield to taunt him while Rebecca tries to call Kate, but Bella answers. She tells Rebecca that they have Kate, so she and Renfield arm themselves and get ready to take on Dracula and the Lobos. The two arrive at the Lobos building, where they realize that Teddy and the other Lobos have been transformed into superpowered familiars. Rebecca rushes to find Kate while Renfield battles the Lobos, killing all of them until only Teddy is left. Teddy boasts about his powers but Renfield tells him it's a curse. Teddy almost beats him good until Renfield grabs a bug and eats it. He kicks Teddy so hard that he spews blood and violently shits himself to death. Rebecca discovers that Kate is already dead, having been brutally beaten by the Lobos. Dracula tries to persuade her to join him so he can use his blood to revive Kate. When Renfield arrives, Rebecca appears willing to join, but she really is just trying to stall time so she can open his blinds so Dracula can be exposed to sunlight. Dracula turns into a bat and flies away until the pair catches up with him. He knocks Renfield out and tries to kill Rebecca, but she shoots Dracula in the foot, causing him to bleed on Renfield and give him the boost he needs. Renfield rips out Dracula's fangs and smashes his face in. Rebecca then traps the Count in a ring of cocaine after saying the incantation. Renfield and Rebecca then proceed to beat him to a pulp before ripping him to shreds and disposing of his remains in cement and throwing them into a sewer. After using Dracula's blood to revive Kate, the sisters arrest Bella, feeling they succeeded in making their father proud. Later, Renfield uses Dracula's blood to revive the support group, which is grateful but also traumatized by being dead. Renfield and Rebecca become close friends as they prepare for a new life. Subscribe for more videos like this. Turn on notifications and leave a like to help a channel out. Thank you for watching.